Did you know that the UIC is Jamaica's official third registered political party? Yes. Now, that is not a small matter. Since the new laws came into effect 2017-18, all existing groups that calls themselves a party were pretty much nullified by the new law, which says to be a political party, you have to apply to the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, and you have to go through a process and complete that process, including getting a number of signatories and paying a fee. I think when we did it back then, it was about $50,000 or so. Now, when they brought in the new law, it effectively got rid of all the other third parties that existed in Jamaica. The UIC then challenged that system, and we fought long and hard with the Electoral Commission. After working for about a year, 2018, we spent all of 2018 putting our paperwork together, getting all the things structured, everything organized, and we had a big binder about this size that we took to at the time, the Electoral Office of Jamaica, and then they told us that we needed to go to the ECJ office, Electoral Commission of Jamaica, up in Halfway Tree area. We had gone downtown. Now, when we brought it, the registrar checked off everything. Miss Lafron Thompson, I think her name is. She checked off all the documentation and said, well, everything looks good, except for one thing. She thought that we needed to have a certain type of credentialed person as auditor for the party. The laws didn't say that. The statutes didn't say that. She was making that up and creating a barrier to entry. In any event, we went back and we changed that and got a CA on record as our auditor, and she said everything looks good. In any event, the Electoral Commission of Jamaica fought us for nearly a year in an attempt not to give us registration as a political party. We fought back vigorously in the public spaces and otherwise until they gave us our charter on the 2nd of December 2019. So we officially became Jamaica's third registered party, the first one to do so since the new laws. Prior to that, there were no laws. It was a free-for-all. So the other two parties, they had years and years of a free-for-all, doing whatever they feel like doing. But they brought in these new laws now to stop competition, to stifle competition, to make sure they have a lock on things. But we challenged them and we won. Now, the UIC is unique in that we did not try and are not trying to follow the model that those two parties have set. So the two parties you're used to, they function like this. The richest people in Jamaica and the richest companies in Jamaica sponsors them. And by extension, whichever of them gets elected, they're owned by the PSOJ oligarchs, right? So these oligarchs, these wealthy people, wealthy businesses, and even foreign entities as well, would own these two parties. And so when they're elected, no matter what they tell you during the election cycle, we're going to do this for you, we're going to do that for you, even if they were to implement any of those things, it would always be implemented in a way so that you still lose and they still win. And what do I mean by they? They are the PSOJ oligarchs behind the scenes who are controlling them, who own them, because without them they can't win election. If tomorrow morning the PSOJ oligarchs withdraw all of the money that they're giving them to trick us, to buy our votes and all of that, if they withdraw all that money tomorrow, those two parties would be just as weak and ineffectual as the UIC, except for the fact that they would have a certain amount of psychological loyalty by some people and so on, but they'll be very weak. They wouldn't be able to bring out even the small amount they now bring out in terms of vote. And that's very important to note. Now, the UIC chose a different path, and our path is we want to make sure that the UIC is not owned by the PSOJ oligarchs. We want the UIC to be owned by the people of Jamaica, owned by you, owned by all of us. And so when we elect the UIC now, on whatever platform we have put forward, whatever manifesto we have put forward, you can rest assured that what we say in the manifesto is what we're going to do, because we would therefore not be beholden to the PSOJ oligarchs who would then be able to say, you better do this, you know, okay, if you don't do it, I won't fund you. So we built a model, a crowdfunding model, similar to what Marcus Garvey used, because Marcus Garvey's movement was fully crowdfunded. It's ordinary black men and women, and a few whites too, who came together and gave of their means, reached into their pockets and gave what little they could to build the massive UNIA movement, the massive Garvey movement that almost succeeded. Of course, he was undermined by people inside, just like how they tried to undermine the UIC from the inside. And he was attacked from the outside, just as how they attacked the UIC from the outside. So they used the media against him back in the day in Jamaica here, and they used the establishment against him. The same thing is done to the UIC. But the point I want to raise today with you is, with that little bit of background history, I want you to understand where the UIC is coming from. And so in the coming election, we're not going to be able to pull off a miracle, meaning you're not going to suddenly see the UIC being able to do all the things the other parties do. And many people get disillusioned because they join us and then think the UIC is going to be like the other parties. We're going to be able to do the same things they do and spend money the way they spend money. We don't have it to spend like that. So we're depending on ordinary Jamaicans like me and you to give our small donations of whatever amount we can. We have a membership fee of just 1,000 Jamaican a month, or if you're overseas, $10 a month. That's it. That is what makes up our base. And some of us give more on top of that. You know, some of us give $50,000 or $20,000 or $100,000, whatever it may be. But the bottom line is, the UIC is a grassroots movement, a grassroots party, and we're following the model of Marcus Garvey of using crowdfunding. Now, Marcus Garvey had it easier and harder than us. Easier in that back then, we as black people, people of African heritage, were more united against the colonial forces because it was clear who the enemy was. The enemy was the colonial forces immediately in front of us. Now, the colonial forces were very smart. They shift to the background and divide us into two, and then let us see each other as the enemy. And so our minds are now messed up. We don't understand the fight we're fighting anymore. We think the fighting is me on this side and you on that side, and we're fighting each other like cats and dogs for scarce benefits and spoils. And so we move away from the productive self that we were to becoming more corrupt and more committed to hating and fighting each other. So the UIC wants to help us to change that, and that's why our symbol is the handshake in the form of Jamaica, because we want to unite the nation. So we want you to come back together, want us to come back together as one Jamaica, united, strong, and free. So for that to happen, all of us have to donate our time, our talent, and our treasure in order for the UIC to be successful. There's no magic bullet. There's nothing I, Joseph Patterson, can do by myself as the founder and president of the UIC to just make things miraculously happen. It's going to take cooperation. You and me joining hands together, working together to create this new party, this new movement that will represent the people and the people only. If we don't do that together, the PSOJ oligarchs will continue to own the government, continue to own the two parties, and use them to divide us, distract us, and deceive us, while they get to extract our wealth by stealth behind the scene. So, if you want the UIC to succeed, you have to be a part of the solution to make that happen.
From the mountains to the shorelines, where the rhythm of the waves meets the sun, there's a land where the music's always bright. Jamaica's heart beats strong, full of life. Bob Marley gave a touch and burning spirit. Their songs keep playing, always near. They spread the message that they gave. In every melody we find our way. Bob Marley gave a touch and burning spirit. Their songs keep playing, always near. They spread the message that they gave. In every melody we find our way. Jamaica, my Jamaica, island of love where dreams awake. In Jamaica, my Jamaica, feel the spirit, let the music take you. Jamaica, my Jamaica, island of love where dreams